It's June 1st, 2020 here in southern Ontario. It's a toasty 20 degrees in southern Ontario today. So it's spring, late spring. The weather has been kind of wacky, but the plants have been growing well. The first plant here we see is the red maple that died on me. It should be budding, but it has not. However, behind it, you'll see that I planted a red mulberry with the green leaves there. So that'll take over its spot in due time and be able to provide us with some mulberry as well. Down there are three flowers, Stonecrop or something like that. They'll send up some nice flowers this autumn, and they'll be red and it'll show color well into the winter, which is pretty cool because I picked them up last autumn, the before times, and they were like 50% off or 60% off. So they were only $1 or $3 per plant. And if you look on the left corner and here in the shadows, those are staghorn sumac trees that I rescued or adopted from the park. And I plan to let them grow in front of the deck here. So they'll grow bent and crooked, and they'll kind of add a nice touch to the garden area in front of the deck. Over here, this is a rose bush growing like crazy. And there's a dwarf Alberta spruce here that super short. It's believe it or not, it's like 5 years old. But anyway, I I moved it because it was right under the rose bushes here, and it wasn't getting any sun, and I didn't want to cut the rose bushes, so I moved it. But I also turned it around actually, so if you'll notice, this side is really lush and green, and this side is a bit more yellow, and it was dying. It was actually more yellow when I just moved it, but it's coming back now because this side is getting sun. So, you know, it's important to let your plants get a lot of sun, even if you have to move them, I guess. So over here, this is my biggest Paulownia tomentosa. So that's doing really well. It's still the same height as last year, but all the leaves are coming back. And I don't know, I thought that, not too sure how these trees grow, because I thought that it would shoot out from the top and get tall again, but it looks like it's all just side branches coming out from the stem of last year. So if we take a look down here, you'll see that the stem from last year, which is this thing, it's a lot of new growth coming off of that stem, like lateral branches. But I don't know, is it going to get taller or what? Like even the side stem here, it's not getting taller, it's just this side stem. A side stem from the side stem is just going up, right? So I don't know, I suppose, I'm not sure, I suppose that Paulownia tomentosa has to attain a lot of height in 1 year, or oh, actually what I think it was that people, growers of Paulownia tomentosa, farmers basically, they recommended chopping off the lateral branches to promote height. I don't know, I guess I'll have to check that out, but for now I'll leave it to grow naturally as it is. And then over here there's a Altissimo, tree of heaven, which just planted itself here. And my black walnut are leafing out really well. Another Paulownia tomentosa here, and again it's not growing taller, but it's growing from the sides like another lateral branch. As you can tell, I haven't mowed my lawn at all this year. And when you don't mow your lawn, you notice a lot of different types of plants, right? So weeds, you might say, but grass going to seed, flowers, those purple flowers back there, things that are good for the environment, that's for sure, for bees as well. Now this is interesting. There's also my ginkgo biloba trees here. So what I noticed was that this ginkgo biloba actually has different color leaves than this one. I'm not too sure why, but that's what's going on right now. And that one is growing as well too. There's also so you see is this a weed or a tree? I'm not sure. I'll leave it for now though. And then we got black raspberry. You can see the flowers here. This is where the black raspberry will start growing out from. So the way black raspberry works is that these black raspberries are only produced in the second year, usually ready to eat by June, and they grow off of stems that are like this greenish and even powdery bluish color, like as you can see here. And those in turn grow off of red stems, like you can see back there. And the red stem is last year's blue-green growth, and then this year's blue-green growth comes off of those red stems, and then the berries come off of those. So it takes 2 years to get black raspberries from a black raspberry plant. And here is a pawpaw pup that I rescued, and it's leafing out really well, and I'm super excited about that because pawpaw is such a rare tree in Canada. So as I was saying about not mowing your lawn, back here I haven't mowed it since 2015, and as you can see, this is I think it's a black walnut that just planted itself. This one as well, black walnut, and they just grow there because the squirrels bury their nuts. And as you can see back here, oh, by the way, the catalpa is finally leafing out really well, and these leaves will get huge later on. But as you can see, my side garden here that I never mowed, it looks like a forest, right? Because the taller trees, which this tall tree right here, which is over 4 meters high now, it's a black walnut that just grew there on its own, well, with the help of squirrels, and I just left it. I didn't mow it down or anything, and then now it's 4 meters tall. It's 4 years old, and it's shading everything under it, so the grass has died. The weeds are surviving, but in time the weeds won't get enough light either. And then, but shade-loving trees do grow there for now. Like this mulberry, also planted by bird droppings, right? Volunteer seedlings, they say. They growing on their own over there. And then this Paulownia is thankfully growing, which is great. This apple tree and all the apple trees I had are growing as well. And this is actually right here with the bricks around it because the squirrels kept digging it up. But that's white mulberry that I planted from seed from a supermarket dried mulberries. Over here, pawpaw pups again that I dug up. I think it was in January this year when the weather wasn't that cold, so the ground was actually workable. There are also other pawpaw pups which I dug up basically a year ago in the autumn, I think, actually. So this one, and it has survived well. I guess the secret is to try to get as much root as you can from the mother plant, and also I used rooting hormone on it, so that probably helped as well. So amongst the weeds back here, you can see some of the pawpaw plants, and you can definitely see the apple trees that are here with the jaggedy edges there. Alright, so apple, just apple, and who knows if they'll have delicious apples or not. This Manitoba maple you see in front of you, it's a survivor. The trunk basically came out from under the shed there. You can see how it twists down and goes below. So it came out from under the shed, or like almost under the shed. It's grown fairly tall. It's 5 years old. And actually, one tree that survived really well was this. This is persimmon. Oh, sorry, not persimmon. Pomegranate. And I had actually moved it outside, and then the temperature, I moved it outside in early May, I think, and late April, and then the temperatures actually dipped below zero for 2 nights. So what happened was that the leaves that were already on it, such as this one, they froze and then they died. But thankfully the whole plant did not die, it survived, and so new leaves are coming out now. And then here's another Paulownia tomentosa, which is growing well. And let's go on and take a look over here. This is some grass seed I planted because I was digging up here to use the dirt in pots. Anyways, the grass took about a week to 2 weeks to grow. It's growing well, that's good. I got my Korean pine back there, not growing very quickly at all, but around them you can see bitternut and black walnut growing like mad. There's a huge collection of black walnut trees, just trees that I moved here from various places. Here's a black locust growing really well. I planted it from seed a couple years ago. It was one of the only survivors amongst several seeds that I planted. But I guess it grows really well in the compost pile. And this is the compost pile. So if we look down here, we actually see like black walnut there. These are white ash. So there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's a ton of white ash because I remember in the fall there were ash seeds all over the driveway and everywhere. So it's no surprise that this summer we'll see a ton of white ash trees popping up. Probably on your lawn as well, but if you mow your lawn, they're not gonna survive. Over here we have another black walnut and mulberry again. And what I was most interested in was that these two pawpaw plants are here. And I didn't throw any seeds here. I didn't plant any trees here, I'm not sure. I conclude that a squirrel must have moved two of my plants and just dropped them here, and then somehow they got buried and they survived. But that's cool because they're there. And this is a yeah, I don't know, I forget what it's called. It's a cedar maybe, but I got it for $5 from one of the big box retailers 2 autumns ago, and I thought it would make a good bonsai, but it's in the compost pile right now. But it's surviving, so that's good. And this is a 3-year-old mulberry tree, pretty big. I clipped it as well so that it wouldn't be quite so tall, so that it would be easier to harvest the mulberries. So you can see where I clipped it right there. Over time this will smooth out, rot down, but the tree will survive anyway. And if you look around, well, you'll be able to see places where flowers formed and where we will be getting mulberry in a month's time. So that's going to be a mulberry right there. It's pretty cool. And mulberry also support caterpillars and thus butterflies. We're back here in the front yard again, and I just wanted to show you guys that this Paulownia tomentosa that I thought was dead. Okay, so actually the stem just, well, it's dead, but the stem broke off. I guess it just dried off and broke off. Anyhow, you can see that there's now a new Paulownia shoot coming from under here, and yeah, hopefully that gets really tall. I'm not so sure though, but it died because last year when I moved it, the roots broke, so it broke off a big piece of the root, and then the main stem died. So that's what happened. In any case, that's pretty much it for today, and hope you are all doing well and taking care, and you can go outside and enjoy yourselves, but definitely take care and be careful.